His first major effort to clear people's student loans. Consumer advocates, yeah, expressed disappointment and concern about the reversal on debt relief. President Biden's proposals would have freed millions from the crushing weight of the student debt crisis and unlocked economic mobility for millions more workers and families. See, that's the part that's not true. See, regardless of the student loan debt being forgiven or not, the main issue that people have is they don't have this liquidity in their budget because now they're making these student loan payments once the forbearance ended from the panorama. And so we already have data though on what people did during the pandemic when they didn't have their student loan payments. And long story short, people went into more debt. So this theory that if we remove this debt, thus also removing any chance of a payment popping back up again in reference to their student loans, that then people would have more economic ability, highly unlikely. If the issue you're saying is that people have this student loan debt and they're unable to get a house because they have student loan debt, highly unlikely they likely can't get a house due to their DTI, and their DTI may be an issue that their income is the issue, not their debt. Their debt is probably an issue as well, but it's likely that their income is the problem. Slash, when they did have the ability during the panorama where prices did get lower, right? Inflation was lower as we in the beginning of 2021. But you did have, right, this 3+ year long forbearance, no student loan payments had to be made, all these various things where people could have got ahead financially. People did not do that. All right, man, that's what the numbers have been coming out as, is that a lot of people did not put themselves in a better financial position before inflation went crazy in 2020, or that 2022, 2023. It's harder to remember all these years. So that's not what happened. I think that, and also too, when it says million more workers and families, I mean, I did an article. It was this 2 years ago now, about the student loans, and it said that most, when it comes to the three major categories, you got people who are single, you got people who are married, and you got people who are married with kids. The people who are single with no kids and the people who are married with no kids, they have the most student loan debt. So people with kids actually have less student loan debt. So when it says families here, you got to have kids to be considered a family. So my wife told me, she said, well, we're not a family, we don't got no kids. Anyways, get to at least have a child to be considered a family. I mean, they got the least amount of student loan debt. So one would say that the main issue is that people just continue to go to school. I always say that there are a lot of people who just continue to get an education because you don't have to make your student loan payments while you're in school. That's the one, I guess, quote unquote, benefit of being in school, is that you don't have to make your student loan payments. You don't face a penalty to do that. Man, still the interest accruing, but still, you don't have to make your student loan payments. But it's theory that more workers and families would have more economic mobility. That's just a falsehood. I mean, that there's no actual data that backs that, in the sense of we have data that actually flies in the face of this. We got rid of people's student loan payments for, a little over 3 years, and a lot of those people did not pay down their debt as far as en masse. People sat here since 2020 waiting for this student loan forgiveness, and a lot of these people, I mean, let's be clear, 4 years, that's almost half the time for the PSLF, Public Student Loan Forgiveness Program. It's 10 years for that, right? I mean, you've been waiting 4 years already since then, and that's if you graduated. Right? I graduated in 2015, so it'll be 10 years for me in May since I graduated. So, I mean, I think those are the type of things that these articles really don't get into, is that most people, when it comes to any type of mindset of putting themselves in a better situation, but particularly financially, and even more particularly when it comes to student loans, people do not make decisions when to pay off their student loans. Most people I talk to do not want to pay off their student loans. They don't care about them, yada, yada, yada. And they're just going to be here forever, right? And it is what it is. Paris Yu, Deputy Executive Director and Managing Counsel of the Student Borrower Protection Center, said in the statement. Oh, okay, Paris Yu, if that's what you think. All right, but that's not the case. I think the math, right, is that if you remove a $500 payment for somebody, they in short will have more money. Yes, but that they're not gonna. It's just like with the lottery ticket, right? When people hit the lottery, most people who hit the lottery are in terrible financial situations or have low financial literacy, and they end up losing all that money, or even in a worse financial situation than they were before they won the lottery, right? So it's sort of the same theory here when it comes to the student loan forgiveness. The people who want to do better financially and are in a lot of student loan debt, or is in student loan debt in general, they usually make the determination to put themselves in a better situation to pay off their student loan debt. It's just that simple. I don't know anyone who has a lot of student loan debt because they've been aggressively trying to pay it off and they haven't paid it off. I know people who still have student loan debt, or just whether it's a lot or not a lot, and the reason they still have it is because they haven't aggressively tried to pay it off. I don't know anyone who's tried to aggressively pay off any debt. It's something crazy like $500, $600, $700 million in a mortgage, and they've made essentially no progress on it. If you sit here and you take the time and you make progress when it comes, excuse me, take the time to lay out a plan, you give somebody like myself, whoever it is, you can let me watch Dave Ramsey, all these different free financial people out here on the internet that will show you how to pay off your student loans, and you actually do that or any type of debt, you will figure out how to actually execute a plan to pay off your debt. It's that simple. But like this, I mean, I met with people that, I mean, when I started, I know people had 40, $50,000 in student loan. I can't remember how much my client, how much she had. But I'm done meeting with her. My last meeting with her is next week. Yeah, next whatever, the first Sunday in January, whatever it's gonna be. Like she had all the student loan debt. I was like, I'm trying to tell you, pay it off. And this is still during the pandemic. It's like 2021, I think it was. So or maybe even 2020. It might have been 2020, right? You've been paid it off, but it's like, you can sit here and play around with it, but if you're just sitting here waiting for it, and when you actually do the math, like it's sort of the math people say, if you have enough money to pay off your mortgage / if you aggressively pay off your mortgage or put that money in the stock market, and there's argument about that. When it comes to your student loan debt, due to how high usually the interest rates are, you're better off traditionally paying off debt that has these higher interest rates because you're going to make more money in general because you're saving this money, right? When it comes to the debt, due to how high the interest rate is, something like credit cards, right? Like you're getting that 20% interest rate, you're getting that back in savings, you're paying 20 less percent to whoever, is holding your debt. All right, student loan forgiveness still available. Yeah, and there are so many borrowers concerned about the impact of the new administration with their student loans. Steady Lane Rubin, if they get rid of this Department of Education, will your student loan debt go away too? No, that will not happen. Director of Corporate Communications at Advisors, which helps students navigate college costs and borrowing. See, this is the problem. Don't help students. Oh, Jesus. My bad, y'all. Still don't got a new mouse for those who've been rocking with me for a long time. See, let's stop helping students figure out how to borrow. I think that is the main issue. I think a real conversation needs to be had at really the middle school level before kids, get into high school, that 7th, 8th grade year, but obviously all throughout high school, about how college really does not cost that much money flat out when it comes to tuition. And not all, but most students live near state colleges where tuition is likely less than $10,000 a year or around $5,000 or so a semester if they just go for tuition. And if you set up your schedule to where you go, you don't have to go to school college isn't every day, but you can set up your schedule where you're going, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or Tuesday and Thursday. That's a traditional schedule for colleges. And you won't even have to go to school every day like you do now in high school. And then on top of that, you'll be able to work to fill in the gaps. And a lot of people, they just go the community college route and do the same thing. And it's cheaper at community college and transition to a 4-year, right? You can go to Anne Arundel Community College, PG County Community College, Howard County Community College, Moco Community College. For those who live in Maryland, then you can still transfer. If you want to transfer to Bowie State, if you want to transfer to University of Maryland or UMBC or Towson or Salisbury, for those people who live across the bridge, like there are all these, or UMES, which is also across the bridge. Like there are all these schools from a Maryland perspective that most people who live in Maryland want to go to, right? UMBC, Towson, and University of Maryland, that most people live near who want to go to these schools. But they don't cost that much if you just look at the flat tuition. Like I'll bring it up again. Let me just bring up University of Maryland tuition. Oh, sorry. I forgot there's University of Maryland Global Campus. I'm gonna share this tab. And look, if I'm wrong or wrong, if I'm flying, I'm lying. This is 2024, 2025. So this is his past academic year. Look, annual. Does no annual mean it's not semester, right? This annual tuition is $10,000, $10,086.